There is no story in Counter-Strike, so instead I am going to talk about the controls. Now, an FPS game, especially one that is based on multiplayer, has to have good controls, and luckily Counter-Strike is a very, very solid controlling FPS. Counter-Strike, even though it is a FPS, it is nothing like Call of Duty. There is no iron sights, and there's no sprinting, which makes pretty much Call of Duty what it is, the sprinting and the iron sights. Here, you do not have iron sights, you do not have sprinting. What this game is a solid controlling FPS that doesn't need any of that really smooth arcadey style feeling to the controls. And while it probably does control better on the PC, Counter-Strike on the Xbox does control very well, just like its, predecessor for the Xbox, called, of course, just Counter-Strike. The only problem I had with the controls is that I had to switch the sensitivity way down because it was way too quick for me, but for the most part, the controls are fantastic in the game. Now, the sound in Counter-Strike Global Offensive, there is no voice acting really. I mean, you hear some chatter on headsets and stuff, but for the most part, there really is no voice acting in the game. But luckily, the sound design and the soundtrack make up for it very well, because the sound design here, all the guns sound very distinct from one another, and it's really cool that you can actually hear all these gunshots happening far away from where you are in the map. I mean, the map itself isn't very large, but still, it's really cool to hear all the gunfire and all the battling happening away from you, and you can just join in wherever you want. And the soundtrack, while not great, it's very, military-esque. I mean, it pumps you up and makes you want to go kill some terrorists. And if you are a terrorist, it makes you go, man, I hate those Americans. Let me go kill some. And overall, even though there's no real voice acting, the sound design and the soundtrack definitely make up for it, making the sound very good in the game. Now the graphics. Counter-Strike is a online-only game, so that means you're not expecting amazing graphics, because of course online multiplayer dips down the graphics for pretty much any game. But surprisingly, the graphics here are actually very well done, and especially in the gun department, because you get a wide variety of different guns, and they're all really well modeled. And I just like having realistic looking guns in a game, because it just adds to the feeling that you're actually firing a weapon. Now, character models are very well made. The thing is that they're very repetitive. You'll see pretty much the same exact looking character over and over again, and sometimes you can get away with this when you have a mask on, but sometimes you'll have a character that doesn't have a mask on, and then you'll have 3 of them running around. It just looks very silly, but for the most part, they do look very good. And also, the maps are very well made and very distinct from one another, which I really like, and I especially like the lighting in each one. So overall, I think the graphics here are really well done. And now we talk about the gameplay, which for Counter-Strike is very simple to explain. Counter-Strike is a first-person shooter, online multiplayer-only game, and it has 4 different game modes. You have Arms Race, which is a game mode where every time you kill a different enemy, you'll get a new gun to use, and whoever uses all 23 guns will win the game. So pretty much whoever gets 23 kills first. The second game mode is called Demolition, which is pretty much the exact opposite of Arms Race, where you'll actually start off with very strong weapons, but every time you kill an enemy, you'll get a weaker one, and you'll have to keep going until you pretty much get the weakest weapon, and you have to kill someone with that one, and then you win. So yay. And now the last 2 game modes are almost exactly the same, at least to me, with only minor differences that aren't even worth mentioning. And these 2 game modes are called Classic Competitive and Classic Casual. And now right in the beginning of these game modes, you actually start off with some money, so you can actually buy a different gun. Sadly, you only start off with 1,000, so you'll actually have to start off with whatever gun you have and kill some enemies, and by the next round, you'll actually have money to go and buy something good, like an AK-47 or a sniper rifle or so on. And in each of these 2 game modes, you actually have 2 separate different objective missions that you can do. You can either kill all the enemies on the other team, which there's 5 on 5, so if you kill all 5 of the enemies, you win automatically. Or you can do either A, hostage missions, which if you're the terrorist, you have hostages and you have to protect them, or if you're the counter-terrorist, that means you have to go and bring the hostages back to your base. Or a defuse mission, which if you're a terrorist, you have to bomb a place, and if you're a counter-terrorist, you have to stop them from bombing places. So even though there's only 4 game modes and it's an online multiplayer only game, I have to admit, this game is very addicting and just a lot of fun. It's very different if you're someone that has never played Counter-Strike before, or if you're like me and haven't played in a very, very long time. And it's an extremely enjoyable experience throughout. And you might suck at the game, you might just be all disheartened because, oh, this isn't Call of Duty, I can't just noob 2 people. No, this game is for serious people that know how to play games, and I suck at it, so obviously I don't know how to play games. games, but I still enjoyed my time. The variety of weapons is really good in the game. I like how it's actually set up so you have to buy them each round. The gunplay itself is just extremely satisfying, and I really enjoy how every weapon actually feels different. And you know what? I think Counter-Strike Global Offensive is definitely worth a $15 purchase. You'll play it for a very long time. Even though I think it should have more modes, it's still a very fun experience nonetheless. So there you go. If you never played a Counter-Strike game before, here's your chance to play one. There you go. Thank you and goodbye.